I'd like to bring to order the March 11th meeting of the Tiverton Town Council. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Joe?
Councilor Paul?
Present.
Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor Janick? Present. Councilor Edwards?
Present.
Councilor DiMederos?
Present.
Councilor Burke?
Present.
Councilor Milbourne is absent.
Oh. Consent agenda. Approval of Town Council minutes. February 12th, 2024, regular meeting, Councilor Janick and Milbourne abstain absent. February 12th, amended executive session, Councilor Janick and Milbourne abstain absent. February 26th, regular meeting, February 26th, exec. Acknowledge receipts from boards, commissions, and committees. Dog Park Advisory Committee 1, Planning Board 6, North End and Industrial Park Advisory Subcommittee 1, Historical Cemetery Commission 1. Acknowledge receipts of reports, Town Administrator, Department's monthly reports, February 2024, Town Administrator, Police and Fire overtime reports, February 2024. Acknowledge receipts of correspondence, email from Patrick Pine regarding limited and inadequate internet options, and letter from the Town of Burryville regarding joint resolution on inconsistencies in school funding. Approval of tax assessors abatements, $174.04. Would anyone like to take anything from the consent agenda? Councilor Burke?
Items D1 and 2.
Was that,
Anyone else?
which?
D1 and 2.
D as in dog.
Thank you.
All right, I had two, so
Oh, okay.
there we go.
Anyone else? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Acknowledge the receipts and correspondence, email from Patrick Pine regarding limited and inadequate internet options. Councilor Burke.
So I appreciate Mr. Pine's concerns. I just would like to note a couple things that 3 years ago or so, we did engage with Cox, and they were doing a lot of work in the area, and they were able to address a lot of the issues, and I don't remember all the technical aspects. You know, certainly there are some ongoing issues with Cox, and in other pieces, we don't control who has access to town, and any, well, not broadband, but certainly cable television and the like is not controlled by us. Then lastly, 2 meetings ago, or last meeting, we approved working with the Newport Chamber of Commerce on a broadband assessment process that they are undergoing for all of Newport County and then some of Bristol County. And hopefully that will give us an idea of what the needs are, and then, you know, we can work with them to see how those can be addressed.
Chris, anything to add?
So I can, I'll just add that that project is ongoing with Mission Broadband about doing the reviews in the local areas in the Newport County and Bristol County area. But also, I've found out recently that Cox is changing. They're providing high-speed broadband fiber connections now to homes. I don't know, I've not seen that yet. I have not had any meetings with Cox. I have had people call and tell me that they've offered it a nominal fee to turn them over to the high speed, and it is extremely faster than what was available. And what I'm getting, I'm going to try to set up a meeting with Cox, but I believe they are going to try to do the entire town. So it's movement in the right direction, but again, there's still no competition. But
Didn't we have a meeting, me and you, and
Cox now.
with someone, though, regarding this? Last year, the year before?
Well, they came to one of our meetings.
No, I think I met I met in your office with someone. No? All
You
right.
might have met with the people that we did the police fiber connection with.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right. And we'll do D2 while we're here.
Okay, and D2 is a letter from the Burrowville Town Council asking communities who might want to develop a joint resolution and form a coalition around addressing the inconsistent funding of school systems and the maintenance of effort requirements, the tax cap, cost of charter schools, career tech, and other things that sometimes provide for major swings in funding from year to year, and certainly swings in what cities and towns get from the state. So I know it's not on the agenda for us to vote on this, but I would just suggest we put this on our next agenda.
And we are trying to set up a meeting with our reps and Senate and RIDE, which we had to cancel last week, but next week. But I do have another date that I'm going to run by you when the agenda is appropriate. John?
Yeah, so just to piggyback on that, I have had conversations with our state rep around this, and he's looking for some information, so I will forward that to the town administrator, but that would result in him being able to put in a bill on behalf of the town of Tiverton to make some temporary amendments to hopefully stave off some of the monster negative.
If we go forth with the April 1st, you don't know this yet, but with the April 1st meeting, I am going to invite all of them to it also. So they'll get some idea of what we're dealing with and what we have in mind.
Ultimately, I
That'd be
mean, obviously, the school committee would ideally like to have the school committee be
committee's
behind this
coming.
as well. But, you know, for the change in legislation, I think it should emanate from us, given that ultimately we're the ones that have to appropriate the dollars. So,
My problem with this meeting is the school committee wasn't able to get a quorum to come to the one next week. But the school committee chairman called me, and he's not even sure he can get a quorum in any meeting. So I'm just going to suggest a meeting date.
can I ask just a follow-up question on that, since we're on the same topic? Is the school committee taking this seriously? Because the superintendent put out there that we have a $4.7 million hole on their side. And it seems like every time we reach out to try and assist, the answer is the Heisman. And it's rather frustrating.
Well, we're going to also have a long conversation with them when we do their budget also.
I hope
And
so.
I know, and Chris will talk about it later in the agenda, some of our plans with the forensic auditor.
And for what it's worth, I actually went to not this past month, but in January, I went to the school committee meeting to suggest they implement a FICA alternative plan. Again, minimal dollars, it would have saved the district about 20 grand, and was met with the same response. So it seems like they're just completely and totally disinterested in anything other than give us a pile of money.
Well, we're going to have a long discussion regarding this very, very shortly. Anything else?
Motion to approve D1 and 2.
Second.
Motion been made in second. Any further discussion?
Just to carry us, we'll put a resolution on the next council
Yes.
meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I already wrote a little
Okay.
note, and I'm sure she did. Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Joan is my memory.
I did. Councilor
Mike.
Burke.
Public comments. Renee Jones, Town Rat Card. Yeah, we try to do it. Sometimes it doesn't work, though.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Good morning, Renee.
Please tell me those are gift cards.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going to pass out our new rack cards. These will be going down to Discover Newport and various places as a trial. Everybody can have 3.
You can have 3.
You can have 3 for now. I have many more,
I'll take one, so you can have
but
one.
I'm guarding them
No, I'll
carefully
take
because we have to use them for other things. I'm also just handing out an article that I found that sort of talked about why it's important to promote tourism. That's one of the things that we're supposed to be doing as part of the EDC. So this was not the whole article, it was an executive summary that I found. I'm sorry, Jean. And, you know, I just wanted to sort of look just 2 minutes about why I decided to do this. Not I, but the EDC. I mean, people were always asking us for our business cards. And I said, no, business cards, you put them in your pocket and they're gone. And I said, instead of something like a business card, what we're trying to do is promote Tiverton. And I had seen rack cards in different places and just said, maybe that's something that we could use instead of a business card. And in fact, just this week, at the Connect Greater Newport meeting, I had several of these, and the discussion was on the blue economy, and after listening for 2 hours to all the great things that they want to do with the blue economy, I raised my hand and said, well, Tiverton has a lot of waterfront property that we would love to have some help with. And 2 people from Rhode Island Commerce came up to me and said, oh, can we have your business card? And I said, why? Look what I happen to have. So I wrote, my name and email address and gave it to them. And it was like, I think, the bottom line for me is that we're trying to promote Tiverton. It's a great place. It has a lot to offer. Businesses often sort of have a negative feeling about Tiverton, and I think we need to be working on making people appreciate it for what it is. And so this is the
This is
rationale.
very nice.
This is, and I want to thank, I'm going to just actually, while I have the microphone, I'm going to thank Meredith Brower, who helped me with the photography.
She's making a face over there.
She did help
It's
with.
very nice.
I just think it promotes what we like about Tiverton. It talks about us, it shows us for what we are, a really beautiful place with a lot of great things to do. And please feel free to use this as your business card. I also thought it's something that could be included, like if you're going to a business meeting or going to promote the town for something, or doing a grant or doing something. This should be included because it gives people something to look at and something to put their hands on. And I want to congratulate Joan on your Facebook thing too.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
But if you'll notice, there's a code on the back that goes to our town website, the activity page. So one of the things I would like to start working on with different organizations in town is that they actually use the town's activity page as well. I know Recreation has their own Facebook page, but it would be nice if they had it here as well so that people could go to one place, and that's what shows up. And if you go to that, you get the activity page, but then you can hit the menu and go to the town's website as well. So that's it. And these are for you, Chris.
Council Burke, you have a lot of business cards.
No, I'm guarding them carefully because this is our first thing, and I don't want to just randomly throw them out, but
Renee, I want to recognize your passion on all of the EDC stuff, but I know you've been working on this for a while, so
yeah.
thank you. And I think it's a really important tool for us to have.
And to spread around to,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's why I only took one, because I want others to have that.
No, you have 3. You each
No,
have 3.
I took one.
No, you each have 3. The town.
she's making us take 3.
They're over there. The
Yeah,
others
so
are.
it's
Okay.
just that I really feel like this should be something that you can give to
Yep.
people and promote the town.
Yep.
And we are business friendly, so.
So your budget has allowed for how many of these so far?
I sort of squeaked out 1,000, but I have more
Okay.
money that I can do.
So you got enough for 3 times 7.
Okay. Anyway, I think that was all of my notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Up to you. You did a nice job with it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just a quick follow-up point. Since the assessor's here, and I know he runs our website, perhaps since Chairman Jones mentioned that places like Rec and now the clerk's office have their own Facebook pages, we should amalgamate links to those pages on the activities page at the bottom somewhere, so that everybody's going to one landing spot to get to wherever they need to go.
Thank you.
Well, he's right over there, but I'm not sure he's listening.
No, I've
Okay.
spoken today,
All right.
so. thank
He's
you.
got his computer out, he's fixing it
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
doing
So
something.
when we get to capital, it'll be one of the bigger items from his office,
Yeah.
is we need to totally update the
Yeah.
webpage.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Jay.
could I have everybody's indulgence and move 7E up?
Second.
All right, it's just that other people are here for this.
Okay, well, after that then.
Yeah, can I do the Board of Licensing, then I'll do it? Okay. Is that all right with everyone? Because we have other people here for the other things. John, who I always
Skrupiak.
miss this name, 289 Brown Lane, Tiverton, regarding approval of private detective license renewal subject to meeting all legal requirements. Is John here? No. This is like an ongoing license, right? It's been since I've been here.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
motion to approve the private detective license for John Skrupiak, 289 Browns Lane.
Second.
Motion's been made in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Just
What?
before, just to say that Chief Jones always
Yeah, it
says
always
that
says
this is fine.
Yeah.
So,
All those in favor? Michael Rodriguez, I don't see him. 264 Boogamarsh Road, requesting special event permit for the annual Courtney Roderick Run for Recovery 5K Run Walk event, July 20th, from 8 to 11, start and finish at 1800 Main Road. He's not here, is
May I
he?
suggest we put this off a little bit, because he might have thought
Yeah.
that it would be a little later, because
Yes.
oftentimes he sits here for a while.
I did talk to him, and
Just put it off till later
Yeah.
in the agenda.
Meredith Brower, Tiverton Farmers Market, requesting special event permit for Farmers Market at Town Farm Recreation Area on Sunday, May 19th, 2024, through October 13th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 1:30, and the winter months would be October 20th to May 18th, October 20th, 2024, to May 18th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 at Tiverton Middle School. Hello, Meredith.
hello, how are you?
Good. Any questions for Meredith? She's been doing this successfully for a while now. Mike?
Not a question, and you know how much I support your work, Meredith, so I just want to, well, it is a question. Occasionally, you'll do like themes, and I know last year, and I think it was a great theme, you did a wellness theme, and it spread out way over beyond the area that we designated
Yep.
for the farmer's market, so I don't know what, just your plans for that, and I don't know if we would want her to come to us separately for that one, but
Well,
So,
we talked about.
we did a yoga class out on the edge of the field, and then I had two of the vendors out where behind where the porta potties
Right.
are on that grassy area. I don't typically use that, and this year we won't be doing a wellness event. We're gonna be doing a grilling event,
really?
grilling,
Ooh.
yep.
Wait,
But if I did need to use that extra space, is
then
that,
I think you need to come to
Come back
us
to us just for
if
that
you
extra
decide.
space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we can make accommodations for that. Because sometimes there's a lot of
Other stuff going
baseball
on.
and stuff going on over on
because
that
this
side.
season they're gonna be working on the tennis courts, so,
Well, we hope.
so that,
No, they will be.
All right. I never promise anything till we put the first shovel in the ground. All right. Yes, John?
Madam Chair, just a quick comment. I think this is great. And since we were talking about the activity flyers, perhaps our website administrator could put a link to all of these dates on here as well, because I think it'd be great for promoting the farmer's market.
All right. We're going to have a list for him. All right, thank you.
anytime I do an event, I send out a press release and it goes, he's on it, so.
Cool.
Perfect.
I just didn't see it on here, so.
Motion to approve the special event permit for farmers markets at Town Farm Recreational Area on Sundays from May 19th, 2024 through October 13th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And winter months, October 20th, 2024 through May 18th, 2025, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Tiverton Middle School cafeteria, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
Second.
Motion been made second. Any further questions? All those in favor? Unanimous. Meredith, requesting special event permit for Art and Garden Show on Saturday, June 8th, 2024, from 10 to 3 p.m. at 3852 Main Road, Tiverton, Four Corners. That's where, Meredith?
That is on the lawn of the Soul Seabury House, right on the corner.
And parking,
We have this
what's right here?
designated spots for Tiverton Four Corners Art Center, but then also permission from Jimmy Holland to use that lower lot.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Because sometimes when they have it in this area, Grays gets inundated.
yep.
All right.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Quick question, because I didn't see it in here, and it's entirely possible it is. What are we doing for police details? Because one of the concerns that was raised to me is you've got this parking lot, there's no sidewalks or anything to get to where the area is at. Obviously, if you've got all these vendors, that's, potential for somebody to get hit. So there was that, and then, again, another constituent did reach out to me on the use of the Jimmy Holland lot, and, if there was going to be any impact, because it is in the watershed.
We have used that lot every year for several things. And Jimmy allows it. I've never heard there was a problem with it.
Again, it was just, question was raised, I'm asking the question.
I don't think that's ever been brought up. Yeah.
If you don't mind. I'm not. Rosemary Eva, 4019 Main Road. I'm speaking as a neighbor, and I'm very much in favor of Meredith's projects. However, I am concerned about the safety at Tiverton Four Corners. The parking is terrible. The pedestrians are coming across everywhere when you have an event down there. The lot was used years ago by Mrs. Holland when she had an event across the road.
It's not that long ago. I was here.
Well,
A couple years ago.
Okay, so I was here too.
Yeah.
And there was a detail which was.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say.
The thing is, we have no sidewalks down there. The lawn's not cut a lot of the way. I walked one night down from Gray's down to my house, and I almost broke my ankle in a pothole of a tree there that had gone on the States Road. I mean, it is dangerous. And the pedestrians, any Sunday you go down there, it doesn't have to be an event. The pedestrians are just walking all over the place. So, I mean, I'm concerned about the safety. Nothing against Meredith or anything, but, I mean,
The last person, I think, came to us last week or the week before that's having an event down there, and they were using that lot. We did say that they had to have a police detail.
I know.
To cross. And what they usually do, well, it depends on where the event is, where they're gonna cross it.
Right.
That's usually, but it's usually right at the parking area.
But-
And they go this way.
You need more than one parking, more than one police detail, I think.
You probably need one up there and down by Gray's.
Correct. I mean, and one on East Road, one on Main Road, and down below. Because
Probably
it's very
two.
narrow.
Probably two.
I
Yeah.
would leave that up to the chief.
Yeah, but, because we've done this before, and we had two when this has been done. But yeah, we can, Meredith, could you talk to the police chief and
Yep.
see what he recommends,
Yep,
please?
we had one last year.
And there's also some articles in the way, of the pathway there. You've probably seen, Meredith. There's chairs and everything to get into the lot.
Right.
But I mean,
I think one of the stores across the street is using that for extra storage.
Oh,
I would assume. I don't know.
that's interesting.
Sure, they'll move the stuff.
Right, right.
thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary.
So, Madam Chair, I'll express the same concerns, and for this event and any other event down there, because it can be dangerous. People ignore that stop sign or the stop light. They ignore the speed signs. I was down there today and had somebody try to pass me in front of Cheese Wheel. They didn't
Sorry, that was me.
succeed.
I'm kidding.
And then they tried to pass me in front of the church, and again, they didn't succeed. However,
5 miles an hour.
we need to make sure they're not parking on the main road, they're not parking along East Road, they're not parking in the Cheese Wheel and Groundswell or the ice cream place,
All right,
which either a detail or somebody that's dedicated to the event to control that kind of stuff.
all right,
Madam President?
yes.
I think the only hard part about that, and I appreciate that, is if I am going to the Cheese Wheel, and which I wouldn't be because I can't eat most of the stuff there, but let's say I am.
But it's very good. It's very good, though, if you can eat cheese. Go ahead.
And then I say, oh, I want to go visit this just down the street a bit. I'm not going to move my car. And I don't think we're going to ticket people for that. I think, yeah, but I appreciate that you're really talking about if that's my destination, if this event is my destination, then make sure I park there. And then it's up to the owners of those other businesses, if they see me walking away and they don't want me to park there, to say, whoa, wait a minute, buddy, move your car, please.
And that's what was happening with Grace. They did go out there. Well, at one point, there was just too many people parking there. That was a few years
Well, I
ago.
live right there, so I'm
Yeah.
at the intersection risking my life every day. Right.
And yeah, all right.
That's what Chief Jones will work with you.
All right, let's entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the special event permit for Art and Garden Show on Saturday through Tiverton Farmers Market in Tiverton Four Corners, Saturday, June 8th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 3852 Main Road, subject to meeting all legal requirements and agreement with our chief of police on appropriate police details.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Motion been made in second. All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll do Council Edwards' motion to bring up 7E. I'll make the motion to bring up
Second.
7E. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Council Edwards, discussion, possible vote on resolution 2024-0004 in support of fully funding state aid to libraries to the full 25%. Council Edwards.
Okay, so what we have here is a resolution to support and require that the state fully fund at 25%, as the state legislation requires, public libraries. They tend not to do that when they feel like it. What really irritates me more than them just not funding it properly, when it comes to maintenance of effort, they hold our feet to the fire, and the state seems to have no requirement for maintenance of effort. We have legislation that requires them to fund at 25%, and they choose to ignore it. It's not right, it shouldn't be allowed, and I think we need to call them on it every time they do it.
Okay.
Simple as that. And I have the director of the library here, and I have the chairman of the library trustees here. If they, I think they want to speak to this.
And we all have the resolution in the packet.
You want me to read this whole thing?
No.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Damiani, and I'm the Tiverton Public Library Director. Thank you, Councilor Edwards, for putting this on the agenda. Councilor Paul and Vice Council President Burke, thank you for emailing me and supporting this as well, and also to Solicitor Marcello for formatting this correctly. It's all much appreciated. I'm happy to answer any questions. I will say the governor's budget did fully fund libraries the past 2 years, but if you remember 3 years ago, we did come to you with a resolution to send to the legislature just to support fully funding state aid. It does not cost us anything to do this resolution. It is simply saying that the state should be held to fund that 25% of state aid.
Any questions from the council?
So, Catherine, what is that dollar amount for you if that were to go through as is?
Yes, as is, it's right around $147,000, and if it is fully funded, it is around $149,500. So it's a difference of about $2,500, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
John?
Madam Chair, I'd like to, propose an amendment to this.
A change in the resolution?
Change in the resolution, yeah. The last line where it says, "Be it further resolved that the Tiverton clerk transmit forthwith a copy of this resolution to the governor and to the members of the Tiverton legislative delegation in the Rhode Island General Assembly." Could we also add all of the communities, the municipalities? Because we get these things from other towns all the time, so I think it'd be great. I'm sure other municipalities have libraries that aren't being fully funded. This might spur them to act as well and reach out to their delegation.
Any,
It's probably all of them.
Yeah.
any comments on that? No. So I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the resolution as amended.
So moved.
Second.
What?
Does somebody need to second his
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, you're
So
correct.
I'll second the motion to amend.
Well, no, because we didn't,
It's before you as a document.
oh, okay, all right. I'm sorry, I was looking at it a different way. Motion to amend?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Now, do it. I need a motion for the whole resolution.
Resolution is amended.
Second.
Did somebody make the motion?
Sure.
Mike.
I think Jay did. I think Jay
Yes.
won.
Jay, you really
Give it
should
to
have
Jay.
made it.
It's your resolution. We were all looking at
We're
you.
all looking at you, Jay.
Would've, could've, should've. Didn't.
It's under Jay and then
Okay.
John.
We were all staring at you. Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. That
Thank
was
you, everyone.
painful, but you got
Thank
it.
you, thank you.
All right, back to the front page.
All right. General business, Assessor Roberts, presentation on 2024 statistical revaluation. Hello.
Good evening. The highlight of the evening has
It
arrived.
always is.
All right, so the 2023 property revaluation, the field work is starting to wind down. I'm still continuing to do my field reviews, which will continue through the end of this month, March. The notices should be mailed out to residents approximately the second week of April. Keep in mind those are preliminary numbers and that they are subject to change once we finalize the process, which will include the informal hearings. So once those notices get mailed to residents, if they have any questions or concerns about their assessment, at that point in time, they will contact the revaluation company and they can schedule a in-person meeting with them to review their assessment and how they arrived at that number. Those informal hearings probably should last 2 to 3 weeks. I will sit in on most of those, and if there's any major concerns that pop on up, I certainly will be reviewing them with the revaluation company. Keep in mind that whenever there are revaluations, there's always some upset and concerns. It's not unique to Tiverton or any one of our special revaluations. In fact, Middletown, they just mailed out their notices, and there was an article about the assessments and how much they've increased and such. So people voiced a lot of concerns. This is the article that was in the paper, and anything that's highlighted is actually misinformation. So whenever there's revaluations, there's tons of misinformation. So I would just urge the residents that once they do get their values, to one, contact the reval company to review the assessments. But obviously, my office is always available to answer any questions. As far as the percentage of increases, right now we're looking at residential single-family homes to increase anywhere between 37 and 45% from the last revaluation. And this is what other communities are seeing as well. So I have checked with other communities currently doing revaluations, and these numbers are in line with what they're seeing. So that's single families and condos. Multifamilies are actually seeing a higher increase of around 45 to 47%. Mobile homes and country view estate, those type of properties, are seeing some significant increases as well. And commercial properties are going up around 22 to 25%. There is going to be some areas that are seeing some significant increases than the average, and one of those areas is the Bay Street area. So you might hear some of those residents contacting you guys.
And the reason for that?
And the reason for that is back in 2005, when I was first hired, that's about the time that they discovered the contamination issue. So we ended up putting a lot of adjustments on those properties because they weren't selling, they weren't turning over. Huge stigma of those properties. So adjustments were definitely warranted to reflect the limited marketability of those properties. Over the years, we've slowly backed off some of those adjustments because the property started selling, and there's market data that showed us that the heavy adjustments that we had on those properties, we didn't need to carry those anymore. And up until this revaluation, we've had those adjustments slowly being backed off, but now we're basically completely backed off because the sales data there is supporting true market value. There's hardly any more stigma attached to those properties. So because we're removing those adjustments, they are seeing a higher percentage increase.
So we'll be getting phone calls.
Yeah.
So will you.
So will I. But, we have to reflect what the market's doing, unfortunately. And, just like that newspaper article from Middletown, there are also pockets where people are going to see a 70% increase. So, it really depends on the issue. And keep in mind, some of it is market-driven and some of it is, errors. Past revaluations, it could be a simple data entry mistake. When I addressed you in the past recently about this revaluation, I informed you guys that I'm going to be spending a lot more time working on this out in the field. The reason being is when we hire these revaluation companies, they have 2 or 3, sometimes 4 or 5 people go out in the field doing review work. As you all know, appraising and assessments, it's not an exact science. It's subjective. So if you have 2 or 3 people out in the field doing review and grading properties on the quality construction, the condition, the water view, you get 2 or 3 different opinions. So with me doing it and I'm doing all that work, it's being consistent. So in that consistency, we're going to have some growth issues or pain because some of those properties may have been underassessed in the past. So those people are seeing something higher. The people who are underassessed, I'm never going to hear from. It's always the people who are, higher assessed. So with me going out in the field and seeing some of these lower assessments, those are the people who are going to see some changes as well. One of the things that Chris has addressed, I know later on you're talking to John, our building official. Me being out in the field, I'm doing a lot of drive by every single house, and we are picking up a lot of work that's being done also without permits. So those people are going to be seeing some changes. So I notified John of any of that information, and he follows through appropriately through his office. So we've been working very well together in that regard. So in summary, as far as the assessment notices going out, I know you guys will get some calls, but just let the process work. Urge them to contact the revaluation company, meet with them, because that is part of the process. There's 8,500 parcels in town. I'm driving by every single one, but if there is something that may stand out in one particular neighborhood that we're not aware of for whatever reason, these informal hearings bring that to our attention. And just like any other type of mass appraisal, we're building these computer models based on sales information. There's always going to be a few properties that don't fit into that box. So those are the properties that also, if they're underassessed, we're not going to hear from them. They're overassessed, we hear from them, and they may affect everybody else. So that process is critical to this whole process, that informal thing. Once they go through that informal process, if they're still not satisfied, the revaluation company will send them a letter letting them know what the result of that hearing is. If they're not happy with that decision, the next step would be to appeal to me formally, and that will be beginning October 1st. Once they receive their tax bill with the official assessment notice, they have 90 days to appeal to my office. That's my spiel for now.
So, I was going to say, Dave, can you address the issue of, you've described some significant increases. How's that comport with what the tax rate would be? Because people are going to immediately say,
Right.
I'm paying X today.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Now it's twice as much, I'm going to pay twice as much.
Right.
It's adjusted.
Yeah, my fault. Thanks, Chris. And that's one of the things that actually that newspaper article discussed as well. No matter how much we talk about, once you get your notice, do not use the current tax rate. Right. People still do it. The tax rate, because we are seeing a significant increase in valuations, the tax rate will get lower. What that number is, who knows, because it does also depend upon the budget the town adopts. But it will be lower, so the critical thing that my office is strictly involved in is valuation. I say to people at times, and I don't mean any disrespect by it, I don't care what you pay in taxes. That's not my job. My job is to make sure that you're valued properly. The end result of the tax rate and the budget increases, that's all of you guys. But yes, Chris, thanks for bringing that up. The tax rate will go down, and the main thing that people have to concern themselves with is once they get that notice, make sure that they think that their value seems reasonable. Obviously, if you were to have an appraiser go out to your property, 3 appraisers, you're going to get 3 different numbers. So we're looking at a range of what your estimated market value may be. And again, it's not an exact science, but hopefully within the ballpark. We don't like to have people necessarily reference Zillow and those type of things, but they should. Once they get their notice that they're like, because even in this article, people are saying, there's no way in the world I could get that for my house. Well, a few of them I did check, and they could. And Zillow, again, it's not the end-all, and, you know, they have issues with the mechanism and how they appraise properties. But that's actually what we're moving towards at some point. You know, the key word nowadays is AI, and at some point we're going to be more heavily reliant on types of services like Zillow and that type of thing. So once you do get your notice, if you do have any concerns, you know, double check Zillow or Realtor.com, and they do post your estimated market value.
I don't know if you can answer this at this point, but Dave, what, if any, effect does a neighborhood that might have more short-term rentals in the neighborhood affect the price value of a house?
I don't see that really affecting it. I mean, if you have a neighborhood that's heavily rented out, it may have some type of impact, but I really don't think so. But we don't have any of that kind of market data right now. My office, we do try to keep track of Airbnbs for tangible reasons. We don't have that many in town to really have an impact as far as any type of
But
market.
we do have some neighborhoods that have more than others.
We do. And we are aware of also some of the neighbors that complain and say, you know, it affects my value. But it's tough to extrapolate that kind of information out from the market because the sales just don't prove anything. However, if there is a situation, whether it's rentals or any kind of detrimental factor that may affect value, we do take that in consideration.
Thank you.
John?
So, a couple of questions, and I'll say this first one kind of selfishly, since my house was one of the 5 that was on the front page of the Secana Times the last time we did this exercise.
And
So,
we plan on doing that again.
yeah, when I hear you say 45% like that, you know, you already basically doubled the valuation, and now it's going to go up by another half again, which is worrisome. The question that I have for you is, I know,
But it shouldn't be, John, because again, the whole tax rate thing.
I understand that, and so ultimately, what ends up happening is for anybody at home is if the average rate of property increases in the town is, you know, 30%, and your home goes up by 45, you will be paying more in taxes than somebody else. So it's really just the rate of change relative to the rest of the town. But the question that I have for you is are we limited in how we do these valuations by the state? So, for instance, other states, I know this happens in Florida, you buy a house, whatever it's valued at the day you buy it, like that's your valuation until you sell it, and then it gets readjusted. Is that some flexibility that we have here? Because, no? Okay, so we require a state law change in order for that to be accomplished?
General requires that evaluation 3, 6, and 9 years.
Yeah, and that changed maybe in 2020-ish?
97, that changed from a 10-year cycle to a 3-year cycle. But John, what you're talking about, actually there was a gentleman that I was actually really fond of. He passed away a few years ago. But he did address his town council many years ago. His name was Harvey Waxman. He was a gentleman that was a proponent of your purchase price should be your assessment. The inequity of that is you buy your house 20 years ago, Paul buys his now. you're going to be paying significantly different taxes, although your next door neighbors and your house is identical. So,
But potentially, I mean, ultimately, what worries me is we have a lot of residents who are older on fixed incomes, and if for some reason, the birds goes up higher valuations relative to the rest of the town, guess what?
Sure.
They're going to be shouldering that load. So I know we do have a very tiny homestead exemption here, but maybe it's worth revisiting something along those
well,
lines.
yeah. So here in town, to address that as far as the senior population,
I know we have the income based.
we
and
do
then
have the
Gold
income
Star
based.
and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Right, so we do have the veterans exemptions as well. On the books, under the Rhode Island state statutes, the town of Tiverton actually does have the ability to offer a across-the-board senior exemption. The town has never enacted it, but they do have the power to do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But all right, so to speak to what John was just saying, so if,
Sorry, I went way off the rails on this
no,
one.
no, no.
Well,
So,
it's the whole house on the front page that got us.
so you're in a household with one Social Security recipient. You will almost certainly qualify for any exemptions there are. If you are a two-recipient family, you probably will. So how does a person go about getting their tax rate or their taxes lowered?
Well, it depends on what
Because
that
of
social
income.
security check is.
So the elderly low-income exemption that we have is based on the federal poverty lines. And that has one-person household, two-people household, three-person. So the town council is the body that would make any type of adjustments to that. If you guys recall, I think it was roughly 2 years ago, we did make some changes to the dollar amount and how much people are getting off their taxes.
Yep.
But that's
So-
done through your office.
I'm sorry?
That's
How do I
done
know?
through your
What do I
office,
have to
right?
do?
Yeah, you have to apply through my office. There's an application. They do have to file their income, whatever they're receiving in income, and it is strictly income-based. I mean, they could have $1 million in the bank. The only thing, we take a
That's why a
look
lot
for
of
it.
people don't want to do it.
Well,
Because I've had elderly call me and say, well, this is what I'm getting with my social security check. What does it matter what I have in the bank?
Right.
And I'm like, well, it does.
All right. And, that's, I've been doing this now for almost 30 years. And everything that I've always heard, too, is one of the interesting things about seniors, they may qualify for an exemption, but they're very proud and they don't like to ask. So I do urge seniors, it's available to them. I do urge them to apply. However, we do have a deadline, and it is fast approaching. It's March 15th. So they would have to do something this week.
Maybe
But
we
my
should do
clerk,
that.
Judy, is really good. The people that we do have on the list, she follows through if we haven't received the application that we mailed out to them. But we also do ask them, whoever we do talk to, if they know of any friends or neighbors that may qualify, to also urge them to come to my office.
Is it on the website also?
It is.
Not that they may look
Yeah,
there.
it's hard to find.
Yeah.
There, but you go look for it.
You have to look for, I mean,
I know.
the website's a different discussion, but, you can't have everything on the front page. So,
Damn it.
Come on.
yeah. A couple of finger clicks, and you can find what you're looking for.
Well, and not to, some elderly aren't that computer savvy.
Well, that's true, right, and that's why
Some of
when
them
we do
don't.
have conversations with them, we urge them to talk to their neighbors because they don't have
Or their
computers.
children to see if they
Exactly.
can look it up for them.
Dave, is that something that's at the senior center as well? Is there any type of notification there?
I'll have to talk to
That's a good
Janice
idea.
about that, but that is a good idea. I know that we do have communications with them whenever there's tax season involved
Yeah.
and that type of thing, so I'll follow through with them.
That's a good idea, David. I wasn't even thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe at Country View also.
Yeah, and I have a lot of conversations with Country
I'm sure
View.
you do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
And again, I don't want to be scaring people and such, but, Country View, it's a community that, several years ago, people were moving there because they're very affordable. Just because the market that's been the last 6 years, some of the asking prices over there, again, I've been doing this for a long time and I still scratch my head. That's why I'm bald. There's a lot of sales that's still happening that
It's pretty high.
it's crazy.
They don't stay on the market long at all, they're gone.
They're going. And the thing as far as, the rates of appreciation that we're seeing over the last 6-7 years, I do hear a lot of comments that, about this market and people from Jersey and New York are buying these things, so, they're overpaying, so, they're inflated. Well, by state law, we have to reflect what the market's doing. And if that's what the market's doing, it is what it is.
Any other questions for Dave? Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilor Edwards, discussion and possible vote on review and approve potential changes to the board and commission policy and town council governance. So we change,
Madam Chair?
yeah.
All the changes we discussed are reflected here. Thank you, Solicitor. I move passage. Both, yes.
Any questions from the council? Mike?
Well, I'll second it for the purpose of discussion.
I have a second. Any discussion?
Madam President.
Mike?
Jumping to the governance, page 2, and this may not matter, but on that red line section,
Yeah, the
under
governance.
governance, page 2,
Okay.
does it make sense to include, and I think at the end, whether consecutive or non-consecutive?
At the end of where?
Page 2, the red line
Okay,
section
I'm
of
sorry.
the governance, under presiding officer, this is where we're defining
All right.
senior member,
Sorry, okay.
and it's just to point out, it's not just the senior member
For that,
who just may have gotten reelected, but wasn't, had 10 years of service before.
Yeah. For instance, if Councilor DiMadeira skips a term and then comes back,
So I'm
we
just-
include the previous 20
Yeah.
years that she's been doing the council
So
stuff.
to further clarify, does it make sense to include whether consecutive or non-consecutive?
I think that's, I
Yeah.
think we should.
Would
That's
that be
good. That's a
best
good
at-
point.
Yes.
Would that be best at the end of that, Michael?
I amend my motion to include the language suggested by Councilor Burke.
4 years of consecutive or non-consecutive service.
yes.
Oh, shoot, yeah, okay.
Can you say that again?
Sure.
Not
4
consecutive.
years of consecutive or non-consecutive
Oh,
service.
okay.
Yes.
And then, on the next page, in the public speaking areas, I know we moved 3 over into 1. I'm just concerned it's gonna get lost when it starts, so you're in the, well, first off, you have the red line section, the public may speak on any topic during this period, then the blue crossouts, and then, at least on our copy anyway, and then you have any member of the public speaking during the public comment period or at other times when invited by the president to speak shall be limited to 3 minutes. A little bit redundant, I'm not overly worried about that. I just am wondering if you go to that next red line section to the end of it, it seems to get lost in there and whether or not that should be a new subparagraph.
Any member of
If the
board
pre-
so to speak, or the-
No, where it says if the president allows, so start a new subparagraph, if the president allows.
Oh,
Yeah.
just want to return a new paragraph there?
That's my suggestion, so make that 2 and then change the rest, because I just think that gets lost in there.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I amend my motion to include that as well.
Well, we're gonna have
You
to
have
have
that, Michael?
a motion for the amendments.
Well, no, I'm the original one who made the motion, so if I'm amending my motion, then
That's what I said before.
No, so you're amending what's before us, so we have a document before us. So first we vote on the amendments.
okay.
That's what they tell me, but I was thinking the way you were before, but. All right, and what else? Anything
it.
else,
That's all I
Mike?
have.
That'll all force these other paragraphs to be read out.
To change,
Okay.
yeah, yep.
Anyone else? Okay, so I need a motion to approve the amendments.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Now I need a motion for the whole document as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made. All those in favor? Okay. Thank you.
Can you approve the, you just make a motion to approve the other one as well? 'Cause you said-
No, they were.
Both
I did it
amendments,
together.
same
Oh, you
thing.
did it together?
Yeah.
Yeah, one fell swoop.
Yep.
You're smart, thank you.
Expeditious here, Mike.
Hey, that's a compliment. He called you smart. All right. Fire Chief Bailey. He's already heading this way. Update on letter from Karen Ephraim requesting follow-up concerns over lack of preservation and conservation efforts.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So in response to Karen Ephraim's letter, the town and the Tiverton Fire Department have taken several action steps, and I'd like to go public with them tonight.
Sure.
The first one was actually the town council. You modified the burn ordinance that prevented outside burning of brush from May 1st to September 30th, which is the high brush fire season. And if you remember, that fire that happened in Tiverton in 2021 happened in mid-May. We continually monitor the weather conditions, so even on days that are permitted, if it's too windy, we don't allow permits on those days. Last year, we purchased and put in service a brand-new forestry truck. We outfitted it with special equipment for wildland fires. That truck is in service at Station 3. I also reached out to the DEM Forestry Division last year as to what resources they could offer us. And one thing that they were able to do for us, the Tiverton Fire Department, was they conducted a risk assessment of the town and created wildland fire behavioral maps that they have shared with me that shows the areas that are most prone to brush or wildland fires. In the aftermath of the Exeter West Greenwich brush fire last year, it's been a big concern and something that's been discussed at the Rhode Island Association of Fire Chiefs. And recently, there was a state commission that's been formed. They had their first meeting in February. I believe there'll be some guidance. They're concerned about preventing wildland fires. That fire was very resource taxing. It required a lot of mutual aid. We have that ability too in Tiverton. And lastly, we will be conducting wildland fire training later this month in conjunction with the DEM Forestry Division. So as far as beyond that, it's more or less some prevention and mostly our response capabilities.
Mike?
Chief, thanks. That's all really good efforts on your part and the part of your department.
Thank you.
When you identify days where you're not going to issue permits, do you put that on your Facebook page? Or
No,
anything
just
like
generally
that?
we notify dispatch and if people call and they ask if, about permitting, we will say that, sometimes we limit the time and maybe up till say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes it's it's not gonna happen on like a day like today that's gusty, we're not gonna allow outside burns. It's basically a day-by-day decision made
Yep.
by the shift commander,
Yep.
checking weather conditions. And then as of May 1st, then there's no outside burning of brush till September 30th.
Any discussion or questions? Thank you, very good.
Thank you.
Hopefully Karen's watching.
She's in the back, I think.
Is Karen
Oh,
here?
she is here.
Oh, all right.
Karen,
The question is, is Miss Ephraim satisfied?
Are you okay?
I still have.
Karen,
Can you come on up, please?
I think it was the mask, why I didn't recognize
I
you.
think she was behind the AV stuff.
Hi, Karen Ephraim, 74 North Christopher Avenue. So as far as what Chief Bailey identified from a fire perspective, I am satisfied. That was great news to hear. I am still concerned, however, with that particular plot of land and any kind of future efforts that may fall into the Open Space Commission possibly about conserving and preserving that land. So,
That's the industrial park, correct?
She
No,
means
no.
the private property that abuts.
Oh,
the-
I'm
That
sorry.
property belongs
For the
to
water.
Stonebridge Water Authority.
Water.
yeah.
It's not
be-
open space.
Because that is in and around a watershed area and to further protect our drinking water source from any kind of buildings, et cetera.
You're talking about that piece, okay.
There's actually two parcels. It's in between,
Yeah, I know.
there's the water department's land, then there is privately held parcel, and then there's the industrial park.
Is that the piece of land that was?
Two long strips, they run
It goes into
parallel
the
with the
middle-
Christophers.
It goes into the middle school, almost to the middle school.
But that's the plot of land that company that was going to buy.
They bought it.
They bought.
They
okay.
bought. Well,
But now
I
it's
don't-
gone back to revert to the original owners?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. The only thing we can do is talk to, at some point, maybe Open Space would be interested in purchasing it. We could mention it to Open Space and see what they think.
Okay, I would
All right.
greatly appreciate
And
it.
we are meeting with one of them tonight, so,
We are.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President Burke. Discussion and possible vote on amended Resolution 2024-003 establishing Tiverton North End and Industrial Business Park Subcommittee of the Tiverton Economic Development Commission that extends the due dates for report and for EDC recommendation and amends fifth whereas clause. Mike?
So, thank you. The two key parts to this. One is the amendment on page 1 of the resolution, the fifth whereas clause. We had to return the $30,000 grant that we had from Commerce. Doesn't mean we can't go back out for other grant money, but we had to return that, so it strikes that. And we're also in conversation, I think, the town administrator's hoping to have them at our next meeting to present from Rhode Island Ready. So this strikes that language, the original language for the 30,000, and it says that we're exploring, not mandating, but exploring the feasibility of partnering with Rhode Island Ready to see what they might be able to offer us with that. And then the second part is on the last, be it further resolved. It extends we have been hopeful that we could have done this, and we started this process. It took a while to get this to a resolution point. We have been hopeful that we'd be able to get it done by next fall in our committee meetings and from guidance from our acting planner. She said a project of this undertaking is not going to be done in that short a time. So she suggested at least 12 months. So that's why you see the new estimated dates of just to give some wiggle room to June 1st of 2025, and for the commission, the subcommittee to make a recommendation to the EDC, which is, it's a subcommittee of them actually, and then also then for the EDC to present recommendations to the council no later than August 1st of 2025.
Any questions from the council? John?
So just because I was chit-chatting with Councilor Paul here and I missed it, the free money is, the $30,000 is gone, that was taken back?
Yeah, that's been gone for
So the
3 or 4
town,
months.
in its infinite wisdom, when it did, Renee did an excellent job of getting that money to secure, to kind of do a feasible study of the industrial park. And then North Point had come in and we made an agreement with Commerce that while that was under a purchase and sale agreement, we would not spend that money until we figured out what North Point was going to be doing. Lo and behold, North Point walked out of it, and we thought that we may be able to repurpose that money. When we contacted Commerce, they told us no, that it had a specific purpose, that it had to come back because that purpose wasn't done. They don't have any issue with us reapplying for something. As a matter of fact, there is a couple of new grants out that we will probably look at that Commerce has offered, that we could probably reestablish some of those monies, in addition to some monies for the Main Street areas that we might be able to also apply through Commerce. So we're exploring those right now to see if we can reestablish those monies.
So just so I can follow the timeline. So the issue wasn't that the issue wasn't that North Point pulled out, and the issue was that we wanted to then repurpose those dollars rather than use those dollars for their original intended purpose after North Point pulled out, because we got the extension. Am I understanding correctly?
So the Commerce's view was because North Point was here for a while, it did take, it went beyond what they expected was a deadline date. We didn't know that they had a deadline on it.
Got it.
And those monies were already de-obligated. We didn't even know it. So
Okay.
we were never going to get the money based on the timing of how long North Point was here doing their due diligence.
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't something
So
we didn't change
No, well,
direction to something
we asked
else.
if we could, incorporate that into reviewing what should be done. A feasibility study was part of what this committee was going to look at. We haven't got, I don't think this committee's gotten that far yet. It's totally focused on the upper part of the north end of town. Because that money wasn't available, it didn't make a lot of sense for the committee to spend a lot of time on it until we could figure out, could we reapply for additional monies?
And also hearing from Rhode Island. So Rhode Island Ready spoke to the committee several months ago. They have a couple models that they offer, so that's why we want them to come back to the council to say, here's what we can offer.
So I talked to them today, and he's willing to come on here for the next council meeting. So we'll put him on to give a general overview for the council to understand how that process would work. It's a two-phase process. One, we'd have to do a complete engineering of the site itself. And then the secondary part would be if they would carve it into, let's say, 5, 10-acre lots or whatever it is. They might work on 2 or 3 of them to start with, but we would be turning the properties over to them to develop. And they would market them.
So you don't have to turn it over.
You don't.
Right,
You
so
don't.
there's the study, and then we decide, do we want to turn them over to them to market, or do we want to
But
take that
they
study?
would lay it out on how this could feasibly work, where they wouldn't, obviously, my goal is to try to do it without as little taxpayer-funded money to get this, so we could generate some jobs and a tax base to utilize.
Okay, thank you.
I'll have a question.
Sorry.
Okay.
So this resolution has 2 parts. One is for the north end.
Yep.
And one is for the industrial park. So is this extending the report of the industrial park only?
It's extending the work of the committee as a whole.
Yeah.
Why? You have another question? No?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the amended resolution.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Discussion and possible vote on resolution 2024-005, establishing a permanent, oh,
Sorry.
what?
I thought you were doing the one we already did.
Okay. Establishing a permanent dog park committee. So the resolution is in front of you. It was a suggestion of the town clerk and also all of us at the agenda meeting to make this a permanent committee that follows open meeting laws, which they have been, and sending minutes to the state like they have been. But instead of it being part of recreation now, they're their own committee, and they are able to submit a budget if they like also.
But
The
they
only-
would also be allowed to keep their existing restricted funds.
Yeah,
to-
but that's what I was just gonna
Okay,
say. I have a problem with 2. So under resolve, the TDPC shall be permitted to, and then if you go to 2, raise funds, yes, and that's what they've been doing. And this is very similar to what the recreation does to pay for the concerts and everything. But what my problem is, which can only be assessed through the majority of the Tiverton Town Council. We don't, yeah, we don't, like, if somebody says, here, this is for the dog park, then the dog park does what they need with that, just like the recreation, where they say, here's $200 and they pay for the band, or they pay for banners. So I don't really think that we should have any control on what people are giving them. We have control over what we budget them for, I understand that, but not, like if somebody gave them, here's $1,000 to buy 4 benches, well, I don't think that we have the right to say, no, you can't buy the 4 benches. So, that's my only part, I don't know if the rest of you agree with this. Recreation, collects money for the concerts, sponsors for the bands, and for the banners and and to pay. I think we paid some kids to break down the stage. And that was given to the recreation specifically for the concert.
So, maybe
Do
I
you
can.
agree with me? Or am I reading this wrong?
I think you might be reading a little bit wrong, and maybe it's just a matter of clarity, and I'll ask Paul to help, David to help, Councilor Paul to help me.
They're all calling you
But-
Paul tonight.
So,
Paul
I
David.
call you 9 names before I get it right. So,
The problem with
So
two
be-
first names.
so the dog park committee has done an excellent job. Obviously, nobody's, they have a purpose, and they actually have a plan on what they do
Right.
on a regular basis of whether it's providing wood chips and maintaining a fence, or providing amenities for the dog park. So as long as they provide a budget to that and they stay within it, I have no issue with this language being the way it is. I don't think they need to come to the council to expend every dollar, which I think is kind of what this kind of reads to. that's, but they're not asking for a budget. So if we ask them for a budget, then taxpayers would be paying for those
Right,
services.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
having them being able to generate, contributions and donations to operate that, I'm fine with them operating as long as they provide some sort of a generalized budget that they can operate under. What we don't want to see is they've generated this revenue that has come in, sits there for this dog park. Now all of a sudden that money is used for something other than or not attributed to, not that,
Not that they're doing that.
we have great people there now. I don't know who's going to be there 10 years from now. So that's, that's where I think you would need some approval of the council to say.
Can we change it a little, somewhat, Mike?
But from what you described with the concerts and the like, so the cost of the concert, have we incorporated that into the recreation budget? I just don't remember offhand.
No.
Okay. So how would that be, I guess going back to your original question, I'm not sure, we're not, Stu's not coming to us every time there's a concert and saying, I need 5,000, whatever, $1,000 to pay
saying.
for. So I think that's what we're saying about that.
I think it should,
I get nervous when it just
I think there
says,
should be a difference between allocated funding from the town and contributions from outside. Yes, Mike, are you already writing it?
Yeah, so you could say that all funds privately raised shall be deposited in a restricted receipts account established by the town treasurer, and then get rid of the rest.
Yeah.
So private, just private.
Yeah, because I know that they're having that big fundraiser, and believe it or not, they're sold out. They sold 300 tickets.
And they
they're
will spend
planning-
those monies on wood chips
Well, that's what
and
they're
other
planning on
things.
doing, maintaining the park.
And like I said, they do a really good job of it. And the last thing we want to see is that we're using taxpayer monies to fund this.
I believe this language, though, came from one of the original resolution.
It may have.
I did not.
Well, I
like that.
guess I really probably didn't read it well then
Go
last
ahead,
time.
I'm just letting you know.
But this time
I didn't
I'm
make
reading
this
it.
up, so.
Go ahead, Mike.
So my one question on expenditures though,
Where?
no, just in general.
Just in general.
Are they using appropriate channels to purchase goods?
So I think the issues that they've been nominal, and that they haven't fallen into the procurement guidelines yet.
Okay.
Because I think we provided the labor for them to do some of the work with putting the fence in. They got an extremely good deal on the materials for the fence that we probably couldn't have done otherwise. So the sheds is the only thing, and I think those are hand-built by.
Those sheds came from Bill Sales. The only other close to 2,500 was, we had a company that came in, did a ton of the land work, well over 40, 50 hours for free.
Right.
And then he started picking up business and got busy. So when we needed him back, we had to kind of negotiate. But he was well under the threshold for going out to bid. But other than
They
that,
really
the
don't
treasurer, treasurer keeps a very tight book with your treasurer downstairs. They want receipts, I've dealt with that.
They've been very good about how they operate.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, and if
No
they, and I do
cash.
know if they get anywhere near a threshold, they will contact me. They have not had an issue with it. And usually we try to get Public Works to help them to offset some of those costs.
so should we have it read something to the effect, account established and monitored by the town treasurer, and just do away with the part that's accessed only through a majority?
Yeah, that would eliminate that. That's, I think, what the
That's what Mike
solicitor
just-
suggested.
So I have it currently written that it is raise funds with the approval of the town administrator through fundraising activities and grants for the cost of maintenance, upkeep, and improvements of the dog park, provided that all funds privately raised shall be deposited in a restricted receipts account or receipt account?
Receipt account.
Receipt account established by the town treasurer. That's it.
Is that good with everyone?
I think that
Agree
covers it.
with that.
Okay, so I need a motion.
Motion to approve the amendment?
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
So I'm just thinking out loud here. If their only source of revenue is coming from fundraising, and the municipality, we own the land, wouldn't it make more sense? And again, I'm just trying to look this up real quick on the IRS website, but couldn't we just establish the dog park as like a foundation or like 501c3 or something, and let them handle the fundraising completely outside of?
John, but this allows them that if they have a huge expenditure for some repair there, that they can have a budget now. They can ask us for a budget now.
Well, that's the piece
Because
that
if they're not, suppose something expensive, I can't.
sinkhole develops.
Yeah, and they
It's
don't,
closed.
right, and they don't have enough money that they generated from outside, they can have a budget. This is a committee now, like every other committee.
And I guess that's the piece that kind of worries me, right? I mean, we're sitting here about to go into budget season. We've got the schools hanging a $4.7 million number over our heads. We've got, all this deferred
They're not gonna
CapEx.
ask for anything.
I understand that. I just, at least for me, like if we could establish them as some separate entity and let them kind of run themselves, why wouldn't we go that route?
We don't do that for open space, and they have millions. of
Yeah.
dollars. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
The cemetery commission.
yeah.
it's,
The most expensive thing we would have to deal with is a fence coming down and taking out a 2x4 and a small section of wire fence, which cost about $100 to put back up in about 2 hours.
And I guess the follow-on point too is that we have a significant problem getting volunteers. So while the dog park committee today might have a number
Not
of
them.
volunteers, what happens if this committee goes the way of the landfill recycling committee and all of a sudden you've got 2 people and a council liaison and you
This is
have
just
17 open
like
seats?
recreation. You can look at this as any other committee. Recreation could all of a sudden have just Stu there,
Or the litter committee.
or the litter committee, it's the same thing. It would just,
And of course, we don't have to fund them unless they ask.
Right.
Even if they ask, we don't have to fund them.
and I don't think they really do generate their own funding. And it's not really expensive, the dog park.
yeah, and quite frankly, the only other real reason to make them a full permanent committee is to ensure that they follow the state's, the Secretary of State's rules and regulations, the open meetings issues. Not that they're not, I mean.
No, but
they're-
somebody else could come in
But
that
if they,
doesn't.
yes, if somebody says it's advisory, there's a connotation that maybe they don't have to. And so it's, we just want to ensure that they follow the appropriate rules.
And it also provides for staggered terms.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that part. Thank you for bringing it up.
Become an unfunded liability.
No, this isn't gonna become an
Again,
unfunded liability.
I'm worried about the dollars here.
Right. So I have a motion
On the amendment.
on the amendment. Did we vote?
I
No.
don't know if we got a second. Did we get a second?
You did.
Yes. And now we need to vote on the amendment. The amendment. The amendment.
Amendment.
Right, and now we need a motion for the the whole thing with the amendment.
Motion to approve the resolution for the dog park committee as amended.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor? Thank you. Administrator Carter, update on recycle center.
Okay, so we went out to bid. The bids came in a couple weeks ago. They were staggeringly higher than I expected. We had expected to be about 1.2 million. They came in, there were 8 bidders. The lowest bid was 1.85. So, I've tasked Power Engineering to go back and retabulate each of the bids by component pieces to see if there are things that we could eliminate. We were trying to look at trying to reduce the cost down. The lion's share of it, believe it or not, $1 million, this project is stormwater management. Because there is no structure going in here. This is all related to regulatory issues. And so PAR's going through that deliberative process now. They've actually created a spreadsheet to it, and I think they're at the stage where they want to go back out and talk to the bidders, which I'm not opposed to. But in the meantime, Senator Reed's office has, and Senator Whitehouse has put out a earmark for local communities. I should say earmark. It's a grant with a 20% match. So I've inquired, and I've been encouraged to apply for this particular purpose because it deals with resiliency. It deals with the fact that we need to do this. So before I'm just trying to give you an update as to why this hasn't gone out yet, or why we haven't made a firm decision. I thought that we needed to do as much due diligence as we could to see if there's any way that we could cut this project down. But now that there's availability of additional, maybe federal funding, I want to explore that. That deadline for that grant is the end of this month. So I'm going to ask that, I'll put it in a formal, because I didn't do it here, because I know all grants that we apply for that have a match require town council approval. I will work with getting this so that it's push button ready to send, and I'll put it on the next agenda to ensure that we can get it out there. But I do think that we should ask for the federal funding to complete this recycling center the way it was originally designed. But we are still looking, if we have to pare it down, so, go ahead, John.
Oh, Councilor Edwards.
Jay?
All right, so I'm not blaming anybody for this other than us. But this should be a cautionary tale. The recycling center has been going on for 5 years. Had we done it 5 years ago, it would have cost what we expected it to cost and probably a lot less. So the cautionary tale is, in the future, when we have something like this we have to do, the price isn't going to be less. It's going to go up. And the sooner you do it, the better you're going to be.
All right, I understand that, but there was many reasons why.
I get all that.
We got an extension on the landfill. We also had to move the recycling center a couple of times because of purchase and sale. So there was reasoning for all of this.
There's a lot of reasons.
Okay. John?
So on this stormwater management issue, I mean, we're talking about what, 100 by 100 pad.
Oh, no.
No.
Rick.
Rick.
He's far more in tune to
It's
talk
just
about
funny
the
to
description of
I
this.
just-
So we're on a 100
Yeah.
by 100 pad now.
That's
a
what I'm
temporary-
talking about.
That's
Yeah.
a temporary
That's
site.
temporary.
How long does that temporary site last?
Well, right now it's gonna last as long as we need it to.
Is there an extent, I mean, is there an
No,
expiration?
No, we're allowed to, by law, we're allowed to be on that without doing Ripke's permitting and the rest of it because we're under the right size that didn't require that kind of permitting. So we're allowed to do it by law anyhow.
So, just, and again, before you launch into me here, the real reason why we need to be much, much bigger is because we're talking about yard waste, okay? If we had an ancillary solution for yard waste, then we could sit on this temporary 100 by 100 pad in perpetuity. Am I off? Because I mean, I've probably been there more than everybody on this council combined, because I like going to these places. There's not a lot of traffic through there.
Well, they also don't take much of anything anymore.
That's the point. It's not like the landfill. You're not going to have people coming through with garbage and everything. I mean, the yard waste, yes, but we currently pick that up however many times a year. I wonder if we're like building out this essentially Taj Mahal of recycle centers that's ultimately not going to be used all that much by the town.
John, have you been listening to people in their yard waste for the last year? I know my phone has not stopped when we weren't going to pick it up.
That's because we weren't picking it up curbside, though.
No, they don't like the curbside. They want to be able to bring it. And we told them that was
bags.
right. That's not a lot.
It's nowhere near the amount of volume of materials that we normally see, that we saw at the top of the landfill. I mean, tree trunks, branches, cut up. We don't get that today.
People are not
And
happy.
you don't
with
put
what
that in
we're
a
doing.
bag. So there is a lot of animosity out there about we haven't created a place. Now, people are going to LAL or to Site Ready, and they're paying for it, but the issue is that we thought that if we were going to reinstitute that amenity, that we need a much bigger site than where we're at today.
So, and again, I totally understand that, and I understand that, people today are fired up about larger chunks of land waste, but I guess the real question is, at what point in time, because this is taking 5 years, let's say it takes another 5 for us to figure this out, at what point in time are people just gonna go, I'm in my new thing, I take it to LAL or wherever else, or I burn it, not during the times when you can't burn it, thanks to the chief.
Not today.
Well, yeah,
Thanks
so,
to the chief.
thanks, chief. I guess my point is, like we're looking at an ever-growing cost to do this, and
people want it. Trust me.
They wanted it.
Trust me. They want it.
So I'll let Rick speak to the size of it and how much, mitigation with stormwater there is. I mean, because you've seen these plans far more detailed than I have. But could you speak to the acreage that we've been looking at besides the 100 by 100 foot lot that we're on now?
Yes, I'm happy to speak on that, and I don't refute anything that anybody said, including you, John, except it's really not a elaborate recycle center. About 35% of the area is stormwater mitigation, ponds, swales. It's the nature of the game nowadays with the environmental restrictions that you have. And as Chris mentioned, you have about $1 million in earthwork and stormwater mitigation. And when you look at it, a lot of people would be surprised, is a mild word, that about a third of it, of the area, is stormwater mitigation. Really, we're putting in some driveways, putting in some pads, and long-term, you want some concrete and asphalt pads. You can get by for a while having gravel, but after a while, it makes things hard to move around. And the yard waste is the huge issue, and it's clearing and grubbing that area so we can bring in yard waste. Can you take it somewhere else? Yeah, but there's a cost associated with that too, and there's a convenience factor.
So again, forgive the ignorance, follow-up question to that, right? We're talking about bringing the yard waste here, and I get it. When we brought it to the landfill, we'd build this big pile, a guy would come in with a tub grinder, we'd use it as cover, we had an actual place for it to go. Where is it gonna go when we grind it up? Are we just gonna hope the wind picks it up and takes it away, or, because, I mean, if we're building out this, again, the Taj Mahal of recycle centers for yard waste, a couple things come to mind, like, do we have an issue with the stormwater piece if it's all underneath a metal roof? And we can capture that water runoff and just dump it into the sewer pipe that happens to run down the road? Or I feel like we haven't thought this all the way through. And again, what's gonna happen to that yard waste? Where is it gonna go? Are we grinding it up and then turning around and paying for LAL to take it? And we're just gonna operate as an intermediary?
Yes, thank you, John. If we're not going to be able to sell it as some kind of chips or compost, then we're gonna have to pay somebody to take it, unless they're willing to take it if we truck it. If we pay the cost of trucking and they wanna use it for something, then somebody might want it so they can turn it into compost or chips.
But we could sell it.
If we find a buyer, yes,
Right.
Mike, we could.
And even if we had to truck it, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than sending it to, say, Johnston or Site Ready or somewhere else.
Right, and Jay, to bring up that point, is you're only allowed so many tons for free at Rhode Island Resource Recovery, and then after that, you pay, not the same as trash, but you do pay a fee per ton.
400 tons.
What does this tub grinder cost?
We rented it.
I understand we rented it, but let's say we were to buy one.
The last time we did it was about $16,000.
So if we were gonna go out to market and buy a tub grinder?
No, that would be pricey. I don't know what they cost.
We can get a price on it, but it would be.
And when they break, they're not cheap to fix.
Well, and hear me out, right? Because if we're gonna accept all this yard waste, and then we're gonna have to grind it up or truck it or do something with it, wouldn't the easier solution be acquire the tub grinder, stick it underneath the middle building, people come and they bring their yard waste, we run it through the tub grinder, and then turn around and there's mulch that the people can then come and take.
Yeah,
and now you've got a full actual recycling process that maybe we can get it in under a smaller lot size.
People might not want to take it.
Yeah, the hiccup with that, John, is two things. The metal building is basically no difference in DEM's point of view for stormwater as hard packed gravel or pavement. If you cover something, then you have to give some kind of stormwater mitigation for it. And you're not gonna come out with a tub grinder. Tub grinder isn't that expensive compared to all the other costs. You don't end up with a product that somebody wants to buy right then and there as mulch or chips. It's too coarse. So you'd have to have some kind of other process, some other materials that you would be able to mix with that. And we have talked to some people about, would you like to do something, or would you like to take the material? But basically, nobody has come forth and said, yeah, we want it. We'll take it, but there'll be a fee.
Have we looked at composting?
Well, the
ourselves?
composting, people do compost, there's certain headaches with that.
It's probably more RIDEM regulations too.
Yes.
Yes, there are.
That's what I was told that. That's one of
Yeah, and what we do right now, David, is not composting, was not at the landfill, it's not projected to be at the recycle center, but also you have to be careful what materials you take. For instance, food waste then becomes another aspect of that, plus the smell bothers most people.
My only other question is, of that 1.85, how much can DPW do? Or is this 1.85 an outside contractor, period?
It's all outside contract right now. So we are looking at that, to see if there's any way that we could maximize, reduce the price by reducing some of the costs, that we were to do some of it in-house, but we're tabulating all that at the moment to see what we can pick and choose. And would it still be beneficial for a contractor to bid on it? That's the secondary.
That's the kicker.
In the meantime, I do think it's appropriate to apply for the grant to see if
Yeah.
we can get it.
That's the biggest aspect of it, and obviously I thank Chris for doing all that work on getting the grant, because that's what's gonna be the most helpful, if we can apply and be given that grant.
So.
Is there a deadline on that grant application?
End of the month.
End of this month.
End of March? And is there a maximum that you can request?
So I explained to them the parameters of what we were looking at based on the bids that came in. They didn't think it was a problem. We also have $650,000 set aside, so we have more than enough to do the 20% match. So I would still need council approval to do it. That's, you know, I'm not gonna do it unilaterally without coming to you, but it's, we are, my intent was to come with American Recovery Money to ask for another 600 to think it was gonna be 1.2 million. And I'm still not over the shock of what the bids came in.
Got blown out of the water real quick.
My stomach turned as soon as he told me.
And if I may say, John, I thought your questions were excellent. It's a case of what people want and what people are willing to pay.
I mean, that's ultimately the issue here.
It is.
So
we're,
Okay, we're gonna,
we're just, you know, we're still working our way through it, and hopefully the next meeting on more answers.
One final question. So I know no one's come forward and said, hey, we want this material. Have we reached out
Yes.
to anybody? Okay.
We actually are gonna have a meeting with Site Ready. They've been asking to meet with us. So Solicitor and I will be meeting with them.
What about our friends Tiger Tree? They do all kinds of jobs everywhere.
So that's not for tonight's forum. I don't wanna get into this. This is a whole other issue.
Okay.
yeah, we're not gonna discuss that tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Administrator Carter, update on the forensic audit.
So the audit's been out, it's been replied to, we've had an engagement letter going back and forth. There were 2 minor corrections that had to be done. One was a venue for any kind of lawsuits. We're working with that now. I should have that letter in tomorrow, signed, and then we'll have an entrance conference, and we'll sit down with the treasurer and myself, and we're gonna set at least a roadmap of where we think they need to start with. And then we'll contact the school administration and let them know that they'll be on their way over. There'll be a full-throated review of how this school system operates, so
What is the expected completion date?
we're hoping by June.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Council President DiMadero's discussion possible vote to authorize an allocation of the Tiverton Power LLC donation account towards Recreation Commission fireworks. The treasurer has told me that we had a total of $200,000 in there.
At one time, yeah.
We gave $44,295 for the festival and fireworks, and we gave $12,000 to the Tiverton Middle School for the fields. We have $143,705 left. Stu has sent me, just give me a second, Stu's right here. So, this is a ballpark, fireworks 43,000, band 1,000, face painter and henna 500, this is everything we had last year. Police and fire 2,000, buses 2,000, this is adding on an extra bus because we needed one last year, And this is without the discount they gave us last year, because he's not sure we're gonna get it. He thinks we will get somewhat of a discount. And the signage, about 500. Estimated total cost would be around $49,000 plus or minus 1,000. So I'm asking that we give them 50,000. As of last year, we gave them 50,000, and they did end up putting almost $6,000 back. This is just an estimate. He suspects the buses will be a little less, and, he hasn't talked to the band or anything yet. So, last year was a great success. A lot of people gave a lot of compliments, and it was a real town spirit kind of event, and people really enjoyed it. Any questions, Mike?
I just suggest for some extra padding, not to exceed 55,000.
Okay. And as an aside, I mentioned it last time, I would really like to do something for the senior center, because we've done something for the community overall. We've done it for the kids with the ballpark, and Chris is gonna reach out to them again, because we will have, quite a bit left over, and I'd like to do something for the senior center and for the seniors.
So the only caveat I would make to this, and I fully support it, that I would like to send, on behalf of the council, a letter to the power plant explaining what we've done, so they have an acknowledgement of.
Yes.
And I know Stu does put a banner up and all that, but it is
And we-
nice, they were nice enough to give us this money, it would be nice to send something back.
And last year, they were behind this. They thought this was a great way to spend the money.
Maybe we could get them to join us in the parade.
We could. All right, so I guess I'll make the motion for $55,000 to go to the Recreation Committee for the firework event.
Second.
This is not to
For the,
exceed.
Not to,
is it just the firework event, or for the,
it's, yeah,
because all
the
those other things are part of the
the
firework event?
firework events, yes,
Okay.
that's all part of it. And Stu was gonna be here with this
But
tonight. but-
Gary's here, I don't know if he has.
Yeah, Gary, do you have anything else to add? I did well, thank you. Stu sent it all here. So I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
And it was not to exceed 55K.
Motion's been made in second. All those in favor? Okay. All right, so budget time's here. And with budget time comes budget hearings. The budget committee, the town administrator prepares and submits the budget committee and town council, and gives it to the town council and the budget committee by March 26th. So we have from March 26th to May 13th to adopt a unified budget. So my question is, do you want to do Saturdays? Do you want to do during the week? Last year, we scheduled 3, but I think we did pretty well. We did like 2.5 even. We didn't do a full day. So what's everyone,
What's the May date?
May 13th?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just because I like to be difficult, this is my annual comment that,
No, you don't like to be difficult,
no, not
John.
me. This is my annual comment that, my interpretation of reading the intent of the charter is that the administrator provides the budget to the council and the budget committee. It's strictly a ministerial act for us. We let the budget committee do their job, and then it's not incumbent upon us to do anything with the budget until after it's returned to us by the budget committee. I feel like we're duplicating
The budget
efforts.
committee likes when we do it together, as we're doing it together. I think it's been very successful, and I feel much more comfortable going through the budget. I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary. We've been doing it.
When is the budget committee required to have it to us? May 13th? No, it's before then.
Okay, let me look.
Our preliminary budget is May 13th.
Right, so this is very, you know how this is. Town administrator, prepare and submit to the budget committee and town council the proposed. Town administrator submit to budget committee and town council the final
Tax revenue.
revenue.
On what date?
Budget committee prepares
4/25.
and submits by 4/25. That's why
Yeah,
we
and-
work together.
John, I appreciate that. I just don't think 2 weeks is enough time for us to do our work, and that's a fairly condensed time frame for us to do our work in.
I listen, I concur. I mean, when I sat as chair of the budget committee, we didn't hold a meeting until the council produced something
Right.
for us. We had to do it in essentially the span of 2 weeks. I mean, again, my thought process here is that if we're going to be essentially running in tandem, looking at the same thing, we're doing either the budget committee's job or they're doing our job, or we're both kind of
Well, it's a
running in
little
two.
different
I understand,
this
we're
year,
running
too.
in two separate, different directions. You know, perhaps this would be the year that we put a charter amendment forward and just eliminate the budget committee as a whole, if we're going to be doing this work.
We're not
That's just my
gonna
thought.
We're not gonna do that now. I'm not going there now. All right, so
It's a little afield of the eye.
what is May 6th? I'm sorry,
April.
April 6th, April 13th. Any of those look good to you guys?
April 6th, I'm good.
I won't be around for either one.
I will not be present for the 13th. Nor the following one either.
Okay.
I can't do the 6th, but I could make the 13th.
I can do both.
All right, both open right now, believe it or not. Jeez.
Okay,
Those are
well-
Saturdays, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the 13th, I at least have, Dave, can you do the 13th? I at least have 4. And then you want to do the, can Deb or John do the 27th?
Yes, I can do that.
David? Jay, you'll be back the 27th? Yes,
April?
yes.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just
I'm
put
away
this
the
one
20th.
in. So wait a minute. So April, what did you say?
April 13th and April
13th,
27th right now?
27th. Yeah, I'm available.
Okay. And then we'll see how it goes and we'll do one for May.
Yeah, once you get to the 13th, you can figure out then.
Yeah.
the schedules.
Yeah, and I'll sit down and do all the schedules.
I'm reticent to commit to a Saturday, not knowing what the actual social schedule is for my three small
Well,
children.
Saturdays just go so, like, we don't have, we can get a lot done on
Do
Saturdays.
a set like 9 to 12.
Yeah, 9 to 12 and,
Unfortunately, my children are 5, 3, and 1.5,
yeah, we
so
know, yeah.
Put them in the closet.
they have very
Don't say that in front of me.
they have very busy
God,
social
yeah.
schedules.
I was just thinking that.
Could be birthday
Do you know what he does
parties.
for a
Who
living?
knows?
All right. The next thing is ride. So, as I told you before, the school committee chairman and I had a long discussion and decided that it would be beneficial if the school committee, town council, ride and members of the and our legislators come and speak. We originally did it for next week, but the school committee could not do that. So I'm thinking April 1st.
No fooling?
And, well, it's a good day, April Fool's Day, it's a good day to discuss this.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Is that okay with everybody? It's a Monday. Council Burke did suggest a Monday because that's when the state legislators should be able to meet with us, because they do meet on Tuesdays. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah,
Yes.
they usually don't have session
anything on
on
Monday.
Mondays.
So is that okay with everyone, April 1st?
Yeah.
It's a Monday, at 7 o'clock. Chris, could you notify Rye? I want to make sure this gets done, because I'm not sure who notified Rye last time.
So, just as an aside, did we let Ride know that it was canceled because?
So Peter Sanchioni did, because he called me.
Yes.
He didn't know why the council was changing the meeting, and I told him it had nothing to do with it. It had to do with his own board, school board.
The school board
And that
called
he
me.
was gonna contact Wright.
Yeah.
So the only reason I say that is because we were all notified that it was canceled, and then Ride on public television invited our state representatives to that meeting that had been canceled the day before.
Well, the superintendent was the one that arranged Ride.
So my suggestion is perhaps we should handle communications.
That's what I'm suggesting, that's what
Okay.
I'm saying.
I will see to it
Right.
that everybody gets notified.
Right, because the superintendent thought we canceled it, and the school committee chairman called me and canceled it.
Because I talked to Senator Felag, and he had no idea that this was even going on.
That's my next thing. Joan, can we send an email to all the senators and the state reps asking, telling them about this meeting? then we know that it's happening.
What time?
7 o'clock here.
No, it's not April Fool's, it'll be.
April Fools. Okay. Any questions regarding that? That's fine with everyone? All right, and then we are going to table L until we go into executive session.
Tim's on his way, so,
But L is John.
yeah, but
Okay.
that's when we can come out of that.
What?
Madam Chair, we still have to do the Roderick event.
Oh, yeah, we have Roderick.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I have that big, I think we should table that until the next meeting and notify Mr. Roderick that will, I think he'd want to talk about it, no? Or, do any of you have a problem with doing it without Mr. Roderick?
Yeah,
No?
well, we had concerns about last year's, so.
Oh, yeah, fair point.
Yeah, but last year was a miscommunication between the,
Well,
yeah, all right. So, I suggest we table this.
I think so.
I think he must have not known it was on here, because he called me about it
He
a
always
couple of
calls
weeks
too.
ago. All right, do I need a motion to table it? No, yes, okay.
Table two, table this
Oh.
to
He's getting
He's
bored.
done.
Table
He's
the
done.
Courtney Roderick run discussion until our meeting on whatever that date is.
Next meeting.
Next meeting, March
It's
25th.
March 24th.
Second.
A Wednesday.
You're looking at Wednesday. No, you're
Oh, I'm
looking at April
looking at April. I'm
24th.
very sad. That's because.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Okay. So now, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session, Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246585, acquisition of privately owned property to be donated to the town of Tiverton. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4245A, Personnel, Performance Evaluation for Building and Zoning, Official John M. Hoyle, notice given. Council President D. Maderas, Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246584, any investigation proceedings regarding allegations of misconduct, either civil or criminal, police, school department. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246582, collective bargaining, update on Teamsters Local 251 negotiations. Town Administrator, Rhode Island General Law 4246582, collective bargaining, update on IBPO number 406 negotiations.
So moved, yes.
Second. Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes.
all right.
Yeehaw.
Going into executive.